Kody's disregard for Leon. I understand that it's a reality show and things are often exaggerated for the sake of drama, so I hope Kody isn't truly as heartless as he appears on screen. However, his constant remarks about how marrying Mary was a mistake and that he regrets ever doing it come across as deeply hurtful. I get that people sometimes marry the wrong person, and maybe he and Mary were never a great match. That's understandable. But when Kody says he wishes he'd never married Mary, it feels like he's disregarding Leon's entire existence. If their marriage had never happened, their child wouldn't be here. As someone whose parents divorced after an ill-matched marriage, my mom always made sure to say, "I shouldn't have been with your dad, but I'm so grateful because you wouldn't be here otherwise." That meant the world to me. It's disheartening that Kody doesn't seem to adopt that same mindset. His comments aren't just hurtful toward Mary, they impact Leon as well. By repeatedly making these statements without any acknowledgement or grace for Mary as Leon's mother, Kody is showing a level of cruelty that goes beyond their broken marriage. One of the few things that has brought me peace about my own difficult marriage is knowing that, although my ex was a terrible partner, my children were worth it. They're priceless, and if he was the cost for having them, then it's a price I'm ultimately grateful to have paid. I don't think Kody cares much about his kids beyond the sheer number he can claim. It's clear that when he talks about his marriages, he's not considering his children at all. Kody strikes me as the type of parent who says, "You're 18 now, time to get out." And he's shown that on TV. This was especially evident during the COVID episodes when he insisted Garrison and Gabe isolate so he could visit the family. It felt like his attitude was, if they weren't living here, none of this would be a problem. I was relieved when Janelle stood her ground and refused to push them out before they were ready, especially since Garrison was saving for his own place. Once his kids stop worshipping him, Kody wants them gone. It's despicable, and I believe he actively chooses not to spend time with them. I have 3 kids, 2 boys and a girl. Our daughter is only 8 months old, but I can already see that my husband might have to put in more effort to connect with her as she gets older. He's just not as in tune with girl stuff. My dad was similar. He always had a stronger relationship with my brother than with me or my sister, until more recently. Now that my parents are divorced, it's even harder to rebuild that bond, but I'm trying. As for Kody, I think he decided early on that getting to know his daughters was too much work, so he's kept things surface level with them ever since. This has been apparent throughout the entire series. He clearly has a stronger relationship with Robyn's daughters, and I think that's largely due to the fact that they all live together, and Robyn likely pushes him to stay involved. While Kody may genuinely love her girls, I believe Robyn plays a significant role in making sure that relationship is nurtured. It's heartbreaking to see how Kody acts as though most of his children don't even exist anymore. After losing Garrison, you'd think he would have had a wake-up call. This was filmed before Garrison's death, but hopefully, Kody pulled himself together and learned something from that tragedy, because I can't imagine anyone not being changed by such a loss. I also believe Kody's rejection of Mary is, in part, a rejection of Leon. It's like he's uncomfortable with Leon and, as a result, distances himself from Mary as well, as if he's throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. It was incredibly telling when Kody said he doesn't want to talk about Maddie. I wish the producers would hold him accountable by going down the list of all his children and making him openly discuss his relationship with each one. His current distance from Maddie just emphasizes what a failure he's been as a father to his adult children. What makes it sting even more is that Maddie used to seem like his favorite. I think what bothers Kody most about Maddie's decision to step away is that it wasn't the result of some dramatic event. It appears that Maddie simply saw who Kody truly was and chose to walk away from that. She even said she'd only introduce him to her kids if he could be more present, which they all probably know is unlikely because of his attachment to Robyn. Since there wasn't a major falling out, Kody can't spin the situation to make her look like the bad guy, so he just refuses to talk about it. Plus, Kody clearly adored Caleb, and he was so thrilled about Maddie's marriage to him, and that's a whole other debate we won't get into. It must be incredibly painful for Maddie to watch both her and Caleb, along with their kids, get sidelined for no apparent reason. The fact that production is letting Kody off the hook is disappointing. They should be showing earlier footage that contradicts his current version of events and making him explain the glaring inconsistencies. By the time he was done digging, he'd have made a hole all the way to China. I'm also curious about the rift with Maddie because the K in EVK's name stands for Kody. That's not something you do if you're unsure about someone. Clearly, they had a close relationship at some point. And when Mary said, "We were 2 kids, and we started this whole family," I had the same thought. The Brown family wouldn't even exist if he hadn't married her. The whole situation is so cruel because it's obvious Kody once loved her. He's rewriting history now because it's easier for him, but it's clear he truly cared for her, and I hope Mary knows that deep down. As for his relationship with Leon, I seriously doubt they're close. Kody is extremely conservative, and I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't support Leon's identity as a trans person. I bet Kody really does view the entire situation as a mistake, which is both sad and disgusting, but completely in line with his behavior. He probably sees Leon as a lost cause and feels content with Robin's kids and whichever of his OG children he's on good terms with that day. It's terrible, but honestly, if Kody were my dad and treated my mom the way he's treated Mary, I wouldn't want anything to do with him either. And with how chaotic and toxic Kody's life is, I'm not sure Leon would even be interested in having a relationship with him at this point. It's like trying to connect with a walking dumpster fire. Even though we should take it with a grain of salt since it's the Sun and just based on a family friend's account, the timeline does seem to add up. Leon came out in the summer of 2022, and Mary left Kody later that fall. I also wonder what would happen if Sol or Ari turned out to be part of the LGBTQ+ community. How comfortable would they feel coming out to their parents in that household? Even sheltered kids can pick up on things, and I can't imagine Kody being quiet about his views. Robin's deeply ingrained, misguided version of Jesus-loving doesn't strike me as particularly nurturing or accepting either. That environment just doesn't seem like a safe space for them, regardless of their orientation. Let's not forget Kody and the wives sitting there while Robin announced what a mistake her first marriage had been, right in front of her kids. None of them spoke up or tried to address it afterward. It's all just hypocrisy in hindsight. Kody and Robin are truly the worst, and you know she had a hand in feeding these thoughts to him. What frustrates me even more is how simple it would be for Kody to at least acknowledge what he had with his previous wives and their kids. My husband has a son from his first marriage, and no matter how bad things got with his ex, we've both made it a point to tell him he was wanted, loved, and that his parents were thrilled when he was born. He even has his own photo album of those early days because he doesn't remember much of it. There's no denying the evidence of love in those moments. Why can't Kody just say something like, "I cherish what we once had, but now I've found something more with Robin. I'm sorry for the breakdown of our family, and I don't have it in me to fix it." It would offer some closure and respect to everyone involved. The way Kody talks about his previous marriages, saying they were mistakes or that he never loved their moms, must be incredibly painful for all his OG kids. I'm just thankful that most of them seem to have a good support system around them. Unfortunately, I don't think Kody is capable of considering anything outside of his own bubble, especially when it comes to reflecting on the hurt he's caused. Kody seems to view his older kids as disloyal simply because they don't fawn over him, or obey his every word. In his mind, that must make them traitors. Meanwhile, Robin's older children, particularly the girls, are still in that mindset of worshipping dad like Ari does, so they remain in his good graces. It's bizarre how Kody can so easily fabricate things, like claiming he never loved his other wives. Does he not see how petty that makes him look? Most people can understand falling out of love, it happens, but saying, "I never loved them" only paints him as a bigger monster and perpetuates his victim complex. That's exactly how narcissists protect their fragile egos. They cut others down and place the blame on everyone but themselves. When the people they're hurting realize this and choose to distance themselves, it frustrates the narcissist even more. If it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck. As for Robin, she started out as the younger, more glamorous wife, but now she's looking just as tired and worn as the other three did when they were dealing with Kody's nonsense. Meanwhile, the OG wives are out here looking younger and happier. It's like poetic justice. Robin seems to forget that we, as the audience, saw her manipulations unfold on screen. She may have fooled Kody and her kids, but not the rest of us. We see her for exactly who she is. Karma really is a force. Robin manipulated Kody into being her knight in shining armor, but in the process, she's created a monster. She deserves to be stuck alone with him now. On top of all that, Robin's health situation is concerning. I understand the desire to try natural remedies, but after what happened to me, 10 days in the hospital with all sorts of complications, I'm grateful for the tiny pill I take each day to manage my thyroid. 16 years later, I'm healthier for it. Robin should do the same for herself and her kids, especially since they seem tied to her for the long haul. But you just know Kody's not going to let her go to the doctor, not with 60% of his paycheck walking out the door. It's almost as if Kody genuinely expected the original three wives to stick around even after he told them they were no longer spiritually married. Maybe in his mind, Mary could just live up in the barn loft, Janelle could set up shop in some expanded part of Robin's outhouse, and Kody would, of course, live in the grand house with Robin, acting like everything was normal. The audacity is astounding. When it comes to Robin, she's practically the spitting image of her mother, and it seems she's followed in her footsteps too. I've always been curious about her biological father. What happened between him and her mother? Did he remarry or have more children? Was he even involved in Robin's life, or did he just relinquish his parental rights? It would be fascinating to get more context on that. Speaking of Robin, there's something going on with her kids that makes you wonder about the real backstory behind her previous marriage. There seems to be a lot more going on than what we see on the show, and the editing only adds to the confusion. Honestly, I feel a bit sorry for her. It's easy to dislike her, but you can tell there's unresolved trauma there. Some people speculate that the trauma may not come from her first marriage at all, but rather from her religious upbringing. Growing up with a stepdad who kept her family a secret because they lived so far away from his first wife could have had a huge impact on her. Then, there's Kody, who either let her or outright forced her to publicly humiliate herself with that cringeworthy purity speech. From what's been said online by people who knew her ex, he seems to have been a decent guy, and it was Robin who had a spending problem and took advantage of not just him but his family. I wouldn't be surprised if that whole purity speech was entirely her idea. It felt like another one of her attempts to create this portrait of religious perfection, but instead, it came off as disingenuous and honestly, a bit of a joke. Regardless of who's at fault for the mess she's in, it's clear that Robin is struggling. You can see it on her face. While it's easy to criticize, part of me believes her when she says they're going through a tough time. But still, it's hard to ignore how much of it is self-inflicted. I'm happy for Christine and the freedom she's found, but there's always a sense of unresolved chaos with Robin. Why does she insist on airing Janelle's and the kids' dirty laundry? I have had a theory for some time that she is so invested in Janelle just to ensure that she leaves Kody, but out of pettiness. She said that it was a secret Janelle was thinking of moving to Montana and talked about it anyway. I just feel like it would annoy me for someone to be so nosy about whether I leave my husband. She likes to throw Maddie under the bus too. So I do like Christine and happy for her, but she really should get over the pettiness in my opinion. Not because K/R deserve it, but just because I feel like it makes her look bad. I'll stand by for the downvotes. I think she mentioned feeling frustrated about Christine talking about her, and to her, like she had not done enough to separate from Kody. I think it was last season when they went to visit Christine's brother. I could tell she was annoyed, while trying to stay grateful for Christine's support. I would get annoyed as well. Everyone has a different journey and way of processing. In general, Janelle seems to be a much more reserved person than Christine. Just for example, if she started dating someone, I don't think we would know until they were engaged, while Christine seems to have filmed a very early date with David. And I'm not judging either of them, neither are wrong, but if you are very insular you would be irritated if someone blurting out your shit would definitely be irritating. It just like being actual sisters, there are inevitable personality differences that are just things you have to work through. And knowing that she filmed an early date really makes me believe she has known him a lot longer than she is claiming. I'm always felt that they met before she left Flagstaff. There is no way she would film something like that, if there was a possibility it wasn't going to work out. She would never give Kody the satisfaction of seeing her fail. And Christine comes from a background in religion that dating doesn't have to take -1, 2, 3, or 4 years as well as getting engaged. Also being 50 has a part in it. After 40 ppl don't tend to take years to met, date, get engaged and married. She already had a vision of what she wanted and didn't want, so for her age was ready, and David happened to be that guy for her. Nothing wrong with moving quickly, especially if both adults are ready to move at that speed. I met my husband and got married in 9 months. We both talked about marriage early on in our dating stage. We both wanted dating with a purpose, and that worked. Only reason we didn't get married sooner was because I didn't want my anniversary date/month to be around any birthdays, major holidays, or any anniversary from other family members. So that way it was just our time. If that wasn't a thing we would have married sooner, lol. And I think it's Christine's insecurity that makes her blab all the time. Like she's looking for validation but didn't realize she's sometimes doing it at someone else's expense. And downvote me. But Christine was always jealous of Janelle's kids and how close Kody was to her boys and Maddie. She would always try to get Michael to compete with Maddie to get Kody's attention. She loves that Kody's is attending her kids' events because she's petty as hell. She gets to stick it to Kody, make him feel like an outside, and at the same time she loves that he completely stopped seeing Janelle's kids. This works in Robin's favor cause Robin was also jealous of Janelle. When he was quarantining from Janelle and they reunited, they were genuinely so happy to see each other again. Very next season Robin reenacted the entire scene after he left her for like a day to go to a wedding. I'm happy for Christine, but if she can find a way to win in every situation she will. Also, as for Janelle, she truly believed in polygamy and thought this would work. Unfortunately, once Christine left, she had the favor of all the kids. In my opinion, Janelle had no choice but to stick with Christine since her kids were so close to her. I know Janelle regrets ever letting Christine play the mother role while she worked. She probably wishes she could have learned to be domesticated earlier and having a closer bond to her kids. Christine is mom. So they all go to her. And in early seasons, I got the vibe from Janelle that she did not enjoy being a full-time mom. She liked going to work because she wasn't home with 13 screaming kids all day. Like, if she had been in another religion, or no religion, she would have stopped at 2 kids. And unpopular opinion here. I feel like it was a fair story to tell. That's the foundational marriage of the family. I assume the wedding ring Kay was wearing when Christine came into the family was from his and Mary's wedding. So, for him to melt down the ring was a knife in the kidneys to Mary but a stab in the back to Christine and Janelle as well. And if Mary had revealed to the entire world that Kody only slept with Christine 2 times a year, would that be acceptable? That is also foundational to the marriage given that it's plural marriage. At Christine's own admission in S1, they're passively aware of and encourage healthy sex lives with Kody. Christine was wrong. Period. And I've been saying this since last season and people didn't like it. That was not her story to tell, no matter how much she claims it was all their story. It's funny, if it's all your story, only one person got hurt by the retelling of it, Christine. And ironically, I think that by Christine telling that story, it exposed a lot about how Kody has treated Mary. She's no longer with us to ask, but what I would have liked to hear from Mary's mother Bonnie is, when you found out about Kody melting the ring, did you not think to encourage your daughter to leave him? It's a valid question considering how much Bonnie praised him on the few episodes she was on. And I feel like the show is a lot of both. I think the family plans a lot of stuff, and I also think they slip up sometimes and the producers say, too bad, so sad, and air it anyway. And I think since the split, Christine is a bit off the rails and it's a little petty. And I think she thinks the other wives should feel exactly as she feels. She doesn't seem to grasp other people's experiences and emotions since they are different than hers. And Janelle seemed pretty content with where she was at, so I didn't understand why Christine was so intense when talking about her leaving Kody. Like, I get it, but also it's none of her business. And remember when Christine said once she decided she was done, that was it. She wanted out immediately. Janelle has such a different personality. Christine is showing her frustration because she decides something and acts immediately. Some could see it as an impulsive trait. Janelle really needs to think through things. It's a sensitive topic for Janelle because it was the main focus of her therapy with Mary. It would feel like she's being judged again for needing to process and take her time. On the other hand, I don't think Christine is malicious. I think she just wants everyone to realize what she's already realized and get to it. It's not fair to Janelle, but I get it's just a personality difference. My favorite part of Janelle and Mary with therapy was the wreath shopping part. If you like the wreath, get the damn wreath. LOL, I was more like Janelle, so I can relate. I'm becoming more decisive as I get older and more confident. I'm also more vocal about my opinions. I'm sure both of my personality versions were/are annoying to someone, LOL. And let us remember the end of season 18 when Christine aired out Mary's wedding ring story. TLDR refresher, before Robin came into the family, although Christine says it was when Kody was courting Robin, Mary noticed Kody was no longer wearing their wedding ring. When Mary asked why, Kody bluntly told her, "Oh yeah, I melted it down. I don't want you to have claim over me anymore." Christine told the story at the season 18 tell-all. After the tell-all, Mary went back for a one-on-one interview, said she heard Christine told the story about her wedding ring, and was pissed at Christine and told the story herself of what happened. She calls out Christine and says it wasn't Christine's story to tell, that she kept that story private for a reason, probably because it was so hurtful and spiteful, and that it wasn't Christine's story to tell. Christine is one of those people who are great for a reality show because the truth comes out because of Christine, but if you're on the show, you don't want Christine knowing any of your private business because she'll tell the world. Janelle might be learning that slowly but surely, LOL, and this moment felt like last season, I think, when she told the Mary story, about how Kody melted down his wedding ring from her. Info she should let the other person spill if they want to. I like her too, but it felt like she overstepped. And I always got the idea that Christine let it slip out of spite, because she always said Mary was mean to her, and talking shit about her, and she was like, F it, I'm gonna be a bit mean to her. Still not nice. She never would have said it if she was still married to Kody, either. And their situations are so different. Christine had a home to sell so she could easily give CP to Kody. Janelle doesn't. CP was her only asset and she can't just give it to Kody in lieu of proceeds from a home sale. Kody has to buy her out. And it broke my heart last season when Janelle was crying saying, I'm 50 and I have nothing. I can't believe I put myself in this position. As a woman who really valued herself on her career and working, I'm sure this is destroying Janelle, knowing Kody and Robin are going to be cheap and buy her out for the cheapest price, or lawyer her out to death. And I'm split about this. On one hand, I don't think Janelle liked it, and yeah, what you said. On the other, I think Christine was just so excited that she wasn't the only one and that she had someone to talk to who understood her POV, and Christine also said Coyote Pass was not going to be divided equally, or Mary and Janelle would somehow get swindled by Kody. That is the first time someone has come out and almost said Kody and Robin are taking more than their fair share of money/land. I hope they stick with getting their money and property, that is theirs, Mary and Janelle. I hope Robin and Kody's shopping habit comes out. And I think she is overinvested. As for her motives, I'll agree that I think there is some pettiness, but I think it's more that she views the whole situation differently, and I really do think she wants to save Janelle. I think she now realizes just how bad it was and understands its abuse. If you knew someone that was in an abusive situation, you'd encourage them to leave. Now, what if that was a person who you've shared your life with for decades? Raised children with them. I think Christine knows that without her being there, Janelle was next. Eventually Kody would have made Janelle choose him or Christine, and I could see that leading to a sense of urgency on Christine's part. And yes. Like, think about how Mary's friend reacted to the news of her and Kody splitting up. She was so excited. Imagine if she had experienced being Kody's wife herself. It's definitely understandable she is invested. And she's much more subdued with Mary, so it's not just about fucking over Kody. And I agree, especially since Janelle has always said she has a different relationship with Kody than Christine had, and that he mostly met her needs. She should want Janelle to be happy, no matter what that looks like. I believe out of the three OGs, Janelle was probably mostly like to have been able to patch things up with Kody. They'd split before and reconciled. Delighting in making sure they don't this time seems kind of dark of Christine. Go be happy with David, no need to meddle. And I think Christine needs to dial it back. Just give Janelle her space to figure out what she needs to do for what is good for Janelle. And that is most likely something entirely different than what is right for Christine. If she truly is Janelle's friend, she will stand back and let her figure it out and be there 100%. Janelle is like me in my process. Seems like Janelle is super happy with being alone with herself and her dogs. I don't always need to be around people to be happy. In fact, I am the happiest on my own. Give me a stack of books. And sometimes I am with Kody on him saying that, if she loves David, and has really moved on, why doesn't she just let go now? Why does she keep saying that David is the love of her life? How does she even know? She has only been with 2 men in her whole life. Peyton says that it seemed rushed. I feel like David is just an actor sometimes, just because of how much they've bamboozled the fans in the past. All reality shows are mostly scripted anyways. Especially when all of the sister wives tell-alls turn into tell-nothings. And well, it was a secret 2 years ago. Janelle and Maddie both bought their land in North Carolina now at the time of airing. But yeah, she should let Janelle share this in the talking head interview, not spill the beans. And this is agree with. I didn't care for that nonsense either, to be honest. I think Janelle is happy and comfortable with where she is in her love life. I truly believe she doesn't want to be with Kody and is trying to kind of reinvent herself. I hate how far behind this is to reality. I hope Janelle is doing okay. And I mean, I think partly Christine is enjoying her freedom and wants the same for Janelle. She's also said she wouldn't wish Mary's marriage on anyone. I think everyone around Janelle, including her own kids, hate the way she's treated in the marriage. And Janelle doesn't even claim that it was great. All she said was it was enough for her. the occasional Kody call, and for him to come give her a hand with a ladder and spend time with her kids. She also made it clear he's shown favoritism and their relationship is nothing like Robin's. And I can see this interpretation for sure, but the way I saw it initially was different. I thought she was experiencing a new happiness she didn't know was possible, and she wanted her friend to be happy too. She just got overzealous. Like when your friend starts CrossFit and they will not shut up about it and try to push it and insist that it's the right choice for everybody. It's partially love, partially bragging, but mostly just annoying, lol. And Christine has become very annoying. The constant "I love being single," pushing Janelle to do things in her divorce/separation, the pettiness, it's too much now. I am genuinely happy for her that she decided to leave. That doesn't give her an excuse to act like a teenage girl for the rest of her life. I'd much prefer someone who is avoidant and uninterested in an ex than someone who wants to find every way to ruin them or trash them. Kody does that for himself way better than she can, and I appreciated her saying that she didn't think Mary and Janelle were going to get their share of CP. I felt that was real and was showing empathy for Mary, who she doesn't even care for that much, and was giving away a bit of how Kody's past treats people. I didn't really care about the "she might move to Montana" bit because it's been 2 years. After 2 years either she did it or she didn't. Just like it was never a secret that nothing happens at Coyote Pass. We have had locals posting about the nothing going on there for years. It just doesn't really feel like dirty laundry at this point, just confirmation of what we were guessing all the time here. And I mean, she wants the best for Janelle. You do take on attachment when you know someone is being mistreated. Also, she need to stay on her BC. She look like she will go back to just because she used to it, and I think she thinks she's better than everyone else. I didn't care for who she is as a person. She's petty AF. And always has something to say. After that convo to Mary about always bringing baggage in room, made me see her in a different light. And friends share a lot about their life with each other. I imagine it is a stronger connection with these sister wives. How wonderful to have someone care so much about you, and I agree. There is something manipulative and disingenuous about her wanting Janelle away from Kody, and about Kody in general. I do like her, but she does have the energy of a shady sister wife. No one is perfect. And is it really spilling secrets when you know no one will see it for another 2 years and it will be old news when people hear you? And is she invested or relishing? Her preteen mannerisms and over-the-top enthusiasm for single life / not married to Kody is somewhat annoying though. And I hear ya, but I don't think it's that deep. They agree ahead of filming what the storyline is going to be. Christine is just so rah-rah cheerleader, it doesn't match Janelle and Maddie's chill discussion. But yeah, I do agree with the part of her having so many opinions on what Janelle is or is not doing with the property or her marriage feels a little off. She comes off too invested. But at best she really just wants the best for her friend. And no reason to be downvoted. I think she loves David very much, but for people who aren't on TV, if they were doing / saying what she does, it means that they aren't over their ex and shouldn't be getting into relationships or getting married. But this is also reality TV, and after 14 years of being on TV she knows how to create the drama for better TV viewing. So IDK. And I think Christine feels free for the first time in a long time, and so has become even more loose-lipped. Add to that she sees herself as speaking truth to power, so to speak, and I think she hides behind that, like she's just telling the truth. What could be wrong with that? And I don't think Christine is in the wrong for wanting Janelle to leave Kody. Look at the way Kody has treated Janelle and her kids. He is always going to be Robin's husband, whether Janelle stuck around or not. Christine cares about Janelle and knows that Kody isn't going to change. Kody and Robin used all 3 women financially. Kody has abandoned all of their children, except the head wives, and he threw crumbs at them expecting them to never leave. Christine realized this and wants better for Janelle and her kids. That's a true friend, she's not doing it to be devious. She also loves Janelle's kids as if they were her own, and saw how much pain they were in from Kody's abandonment and abuse. She doesn't want them to suffer either. Janelle always seems content with the very bare minimum from Kody and never required anything from him. Christine wants her to know that her life can be so much better, and her kids, not waiting around for Robin's husband to throw them crumbs once a year. He's also mentally abusive, called his kids names and said he's going to punch anyone in the mouth that dares to say anything about his head wife. Why the hell would she want Janelle to stay in a situation like that? And the secret is what, 2 years ago. And the confessionals are more recent, so likely things have changed between then and now regarding what Janelle is okay with sharing. Not trying to invalidate your thoughts because I think you're still partially right. But in this instance, just a thought about the timeline. Edit, meant to ask. What did she say about Maddie? And sometimes I think it is because all the wives have secrets from all the years of marriage. So when Christine can say something she does. Also all the lies that probably occurred in all the relationships. I know after I broke up with a pathological liar and secret keeper, the last thing I ever wanted to do was bite my tongue. And I believe Christine is just trying to come out of her shell and is exploring her new life without Kody. She has been with that man pretty early on and had kids and was in a polygamous relationship, and she just stayed sweet as they are taught. I believe in letting a woman figure her shit out no matter the age, especially coming out of cult-like environments/relationships. So she talks too much, it can be nerves. She overshares, she can be excited. I don't think she's ill intent, and I really think she deserves grace. She was in a verbally abusive relationship with a horrible man who pitted his wives against each other. It worked because those women had issues living together. He claimed he didn't get involved, but from watching the shows after all these years, Kody definitely was pillow talking to his wives and repeating info to the other wives. I don't think too many women get out of that lifestyle, and I'm happy she did and is getting her well-deserved second act. I've always liked Christine and Janelle. And I think you're looking at the situation wrong. I think Kody is still manipulating her, Janelle, and she falls for his BS. Christine doesn't want her to be used. I do think both of them have some weird competition over Kody. Janelle seems to think her and Kody can keep a friendship, which she has thrown in Christine's face. And we know Kody is still trying to use Janelle. I would hope Christine has talked to Janelle and Maddie about bringing those things up on TV. After all, we are 2 years behind on the show.